Rewatching Season 1. Some thoughts on Episode 4. 1. Other. This episode seems to be dominated by fathers and father figures. We are introduced to Other, Lord Father of the Uruks, to Durin's father, King Durin III, and to Míriel's father, Tar Palantir. Elrond talks about his father Eärendil, and even Galadriel's father Finarfin is mentioned by Míriel. It's possible that Míriel is familiar enough with the history of elves to know that Finarfin never joined Fëanor's expedition, and perhaps she mentions him to Galadriel to imply that this is what wise elves do, and what her father would have done: stay away from Middle-earth. One of the aspects of the Rings of Power that I greatly appreciate is that it gives us a portrayal of orcs who are capable of commitment, of having feelings. Orcs address their leader not as master or military commander, but as father, which is an emotionally charged title. Adar has tears in his eyes when he stabs the dying orc to put an end to his suffering. After this, we witness some kind of simple burial rite, which suggests to us that they also have a culture of their own. They are still vicious and terrifying, but their interactions make them more complex and real. Arondir puts 3 questions to Adar. Who are you? What are you? And why do they call you father? Adar does not reply to any of them, but he gives a speech on sage blossoms in Beleriand, which reveals his gentler side. We know Beleriand sank at the end of the first stage, so it gives us a hint that Adar was a first-stage elf. The mouth of the river he mentions is possibly Sirion, where some important events took place, and I wonder if he was one of the major players back then. Elrond's father is mentioned 3 times in this episode. First, in a conversation with Celebrimbor. It's interesting that Eärendil made a prophecy according to which Celebrimbor's future will one day depend on Elrond. At this point, Celebrimbor, being ambitious, thinks this refers to his future as a famed elven smith, that this is the future that Elrond will help him achieve. But it is more likely that the prophecy refers to the battle for Eregion, in which Elrond will try and fail to save Celebrimbor's life. The second time Eärendil is mentioned is when Elrond swears on his memory that he will keep Durin's secret. The final mention is the most emotional one, where Elrond draws a parallel between Durin's situation and his own, pointing to his friend how lucky he is to still have a father he can talk to or even quarrel with. 2. Helping elves. In this episode, both the dwarves of Khazad-dûm and Númenóreans have to decide whether they will interact with elves or keep to their respective realms in peace and isolation and mind their own business. In both cases, the elves come as agents of change, Galadriel to Númenor and Elrond to Khazad-dûm. They disrupt the existing state of affairs and ask for help and involvement. Míriel has a vision in which Galadriel's arrival would start a chain of events ending with Númenor's downfall. Of course, we know it is not the arrival of Galadriel, but the arrival of Sauron that will eventually bring about the doom of Númenor. I wonder why the Palantir didn't show her that Halbrand was really Sauron. It's also interesting to consider Halbrand's advice, and whether Galadriel utilizes it or not. He instructs her to be manipulative, to find out what it is the Númenóreans fear most, and then give them a way to master it. Galadriel understands what Míriel fears, but she does not try to manipulate her. Instead, she encourages her to make a moral choice, forgo her fears, and just do what feels right, by helping save the Southlanders' lives. Finally, however, it is not Galadriel's power of persuasion that causes Míriel to change her mind, but the fact that the white tree begins to shed its leaves. In Tolkien's universe, trees convey important messages to people. Nimlot to Míriel, Linden Tree to Gil-galad, and wise people listen to them.